Welcome to this video. Today we will explore a challenging yet important idea inspired by Niccolò Machiavelli, a philosopher from the Renaissance period. The idea is simple but often misunderstood. If you want to be truly respected, you need to stop being merely nice. This does not mean being rude or cruel, but it means understanding the deeper nature of respect and how it is earned. We will unpack this idea carefully and slowly so you can understand it clearly. Machiavelli lived in a time of political turmoil in Italy. He was a thinker who watched how rulers gained and kept power. He noticed that being liked or nice was not enough to keep respect or authority. Instead, respect comes from strength, clear decisions, and sometimes making tough choices that may not please everyone. To Machiavelli, being nice could be a weakness if it makes others see you as weak or easy to control. When we say being nice, we often mean being kind, agreeable, and always trying to please others. These qualities are usually good, but Machiavelli warns that if being nice becomes the main way you interact with others, you might lose their respect. People might start to take advantage of you or ignore your boundaries. Respect, on the other hand, is about how others value you, trust your judgment, and take you seriously. This respect can come from showing strength, setting clear limits, and sometimes even being firm or distant when necessary. Think about how respect works in everyday life. If someone always says yes to everything, never stands up for themselves, or avoids conflict at all costs, others might like them but not respect them deeply. People tend to respect those who can protect themselves, who have principles, and who do not easily give in. Machiavelli's insight is that respect is not earned by being liked alone. Instead, respect requires a balance of kindness and strength. This does not mean you should become harsh or unkind. Instead, it means you need to be honest with yourself about when being nice is helping you and when it might be harming your ability to be respected. Sometimes saying no, setting boundaries, or making difficult decisions will cost you some people's approval, but it will increase your respect and authority. Machiavelli famously wrote that it is better for a ruler to be feared than loved, if he cannot be both. This idea shocks many because we usually think love or friendship is the best way to connect with others. But fear here means a kind of respect that keeps order and seriousness. It means others understand your power and do not take you lightly. You can think of this fear not as terror or hatred, but as a strong form of respect. In everyday life, this means people respect those who have control over their lives and who make decisions confidently. If you always try to please others, you may lose your own power and the respect that comes with it. Machiavelli encourages us to develop a kind of inner strength that allows us to stand firm even when it is uncomfortable. One important thing to remember is that Machiavelli is not encouraging cruelty or injustice. He is talking about realism, seeing the world clearly and understanding how people actually behave. People are complex. They want kindness, but also want to feel safe and respected. Being nice at all costs can sometimes invite disrespect or manipulation. So how do you stop being too nice in order to gain respect? The first step is to know your values and your limits clearly. When you understand what matters most to you, it becomes easier to say no to things that go against your principles or that drain your energy. Setting boundaries is a way of showing others that you respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, others are more likely to respect you. Next, practice clear communication. When you say no, do it kindly but firmly. You don't need to apologize excessively or make excuses. Just be honest and direct. People appreciate honesty, even if it means they don't get what they want. Over time, this builds your reputation as someone who is reliable and strong. Another way to gain respect is by being consistent. If people see that you always stick to your word and behave predictably, they will trust you more. This trust leads to respect. In contrast, people who try to please everyone often change their behavior too much, making others unsure if they can rely on them. It is also important to recognize when to show kindness and when to show strength. Machiavelli teaches us to be flexible. Sometimes kindness is the right tool and sometimes firmness is necessary. Knowing when to use each is a sign of wisdom and helps build respect. Let's also consider the role of fear or seriousness in respect. Fear, in Machiavelli's sense, is about creating a boundary that others don't dare to cross. This does not mean threatening or hurting people, but having a presence or attitude that makes others think twice before disrespecting or taking advantage of you. This might be your confidence, your clear rules, or your willingness to stand up for yourself. In many ways, stopping being too nice is about growing up emotionally. It means accepting that not everyone will like you and that this is okay. What matters more is that people respect you for who you are, not just like you because you always agree with them. In summary, Machiavelli's message reminds us that respect is a powerful form of social currency. Being nice is good, but if it stops you from being respected, it can hurt your ability to lead, influence, and live freely. To stop being just nice and start being respected, we need to set boundaries, communicate clearly, be consistent, and develop inner strength. The first step to gaining respect is understanding that it is impossible to please everyone. If you try, you will lose your power and often lose yourself. Machiavelli reminds us that people are not always kind or fair. Some may try to take advantage of your niceness. Being nice without limits can invite disrespect or manipulation. For example, if you always say yes to requests, even when you are tired or overwhelmed, others may expect you to be available all the time. They may stop valuing your time or needs. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. Instead, it is about protecting your energy and self-respect. When you set boundaries, you communicate clearly what is acceptable and what is not. This is a way of showing that you respect yourself, and in turn, others respect you more. Machiavelli knew that a strong leader must be clear about limits. Without limits, a leader becomes weak. A practical way to start is by saying no when you need to. This can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you are used to being nice to avoid conflict. But saying no does not mean being rude. You can say no kindly and clearly. For example, you might say, "I appreciate you asking me, but I can't help with this right now." This shows that you are honest and respectful, both to yourself and to the other person. Next, learn to manage your emotions. Machiavelli was very aware that emotions like fear, guilt, or the desire to be liked can lead us to act against our best interests. If you feel guilty about setting boundaries, remember that your time and energy are valuable. You are not being selfish by protecting them. Instead, you are being wise. When you develop this emotional strength, people will notice. They will see you as someone who is balanced, fair, and in control. This naturally leads to respect. Machiavelli believed that a ruler who is too emotional or indecisive loses respect quickly. The same applies in everyday life. People respect those who can manage their emotions and act thoughtfully. Another important point is the role of honesty. Machiavelli valued honesty because it builds trust, and trust is the foundation of respect. However, being honest does not mean sharing every thought or feeling without filter. It means being truthful in your words and actions. When you are honest about what you can and cannot do, you create clear expectations. Others will learn to trust your word. Let's consider an example. Imagine you have a friend who often asks for favors that take up your time. If you always say yes, you may start to feel resentful. But if you say no honestly, explaining that you need time for yourself, your friend may be disappointed but will understand your limits. Over time, they will respect your honesty more than if you had pretended to be okay with everything. Machiavelli also teaches us that respect is linked to how we carry ourselves. Confidence is key. When you believe in your own worth, others will believe it too. This does not mean arrogance, but quiet self-assurance. When you speak and act with confidence, it sends a message that you value yourself and expect others to do the same. This confidence grows when you practice self-discipline. Self-discipline means controlling your impulses and focusing on long-term goals rather than short-term approval. Machiavelli admired rulers who showed self-discipline because it helped them stay strong in difficult times. In daily life, self-discipline helps you stick to your boundaries and make decisions that earn respect. We should also discuss how to handle criticism or rejection. When you stop being too nice, some people may react negatively. They may try to guilt you or accuse you of being mean. This is a common fear, but Machiavelli would say that respect requires standing firm even when it is uncomfortable. If someone truly cares about you, they will respect your boundaries. If they do not, it may be a sign to rethink the relationship. It is natural to want approval from others, but remember that approval and respect are not the same. Approval means others like what you do or say. Respect means they value who you are, your strength, and your principles. Machiavelli warns that chasing approval can weaken you and make you lose respect. Another strategy to gain respect is to be reliable. People respect those who keep their promises and show up when they say they will. Reliability shows responsibility and strength. Machiavelli knew that trustworthiness is a form of power because it influences how others treat you. Now, what about kindness? Does Machiavelli say to stop being kind? Kindness is important, but it must be balanced. Kindness without boundaries can be weak. Kindness combined with strength and honesty is powerful. It creates relationships where people feel safe and respected. Machiavelli admired leaders who could be kind but also firm when necessary. To summarize this part, respect requires setting clear boundaries, managing emotions, being honest, and acting with confidence. It means learning to say no kindly and standing firm in your values. Respect is earned by strength balanced with kindness, not by pleasing everyone. In the next and final part, we will explore how to apply these lessons in real-life challenges. We will also discuss how to overcome the fear of losing friends or being disliked when you stop being too nice. For now, practice small steps in setting boundaries and notice how your respect grows. Thank you for listening to this second part. Let me know when you are ready for the last part. So far, we have explored why being too nice can cost you respect, and how to balance kindness with strength by setting boundaries, managing emotions, and being honest. Now we will focus on applying these lessons in real life. We will also talk about overcoming the fear of losing friends or being disliked when you stop being too nice. This part will help you take practical steps toward gaining true respect. First, let's talk about real-life challenges. In everyday situations, you will face moments when it is tempting to say yes to please others, even if it is against your own needs. For example, a coworker might ask for help on a project when you are already overwhelmed. A family member may expect you to attend every event even when you need rest. A friend might push you to agree with their opinion even when you disagree. These moments are tests of your boundaries. Machiavelli's advice is to prepare for these tests by knowing your limits in advance. When you understand what you can and cannot do, it becomes easier to say no without feeling guilty. Preparation is a form of strength because it reduces emotional stress in the moment. You can practice simple phrases that are polite but firm. For example, "I'm sorry, I can't take this on right now," or "I need to focus on my own priorities today." Saying these things calmly and clearly shows respect for yourself and teaches others to respect you too. Another challenge is dealing with the fear of losing friends or approval. This fear often holds people back from setting boundaries. Machiavelli knew that leaders who try to be loved by everyone lose power. The same applies to personal life. You cannot control how others feel about you, but you can control how you act. It helps to remind yourself that losing some approval is not failure. It is a natural part of growing stronger. True friends will respect your boundaries and support your growth. People who cannot respect your limits may not be healthy influences in your life. Machiavelli would say that a wise person focuses on respect rather than popularity. Next, remember that respect is built over time. You will not change your relationships overnight. It takes patience and consistency. When you consistently set boundaries and act with honesty and confidence, people learn to respect you. Sometimes this means facing uncomfortable conversations or reactions, but these are necessary for long-term respect. Machiavelli also teaches us to observe others carefully. Pay attention to who respects your boundaries and who tries to push past them. This awareness helps you choose your relationships wisely. Surround yourself with people who value your strength and kindness equally. In addition, use self-reflection regularly. Ask yourself if your actions are aligned with your values. Are you being too nice to avoid discomfort? Are you clear about your limits? This reflection helps you stay true to yourself and grow in respect. Another practical tip is to develop a strong inner dialogue. Sometimes our own thoughts can undermine our confidence. Machiavelli encourages a mindset of realism and courage. Replace thoughts like "I must please everyone" with "I deserve respect and I will stand firm." This shift changes how you feel and act. Also, be mindful of how you carry yourself. Body language, tone of voice, and eye contact all communicate confidence and strength. Even if you feel nervous inside, practicing strong body language can influence how others see you and how you see yourself. It is important to remember that respect does not require being harsh or cold. Machiavelli's ideal leader was one who could balance kindness with firmness. You can be warm and caring while still standing your ground. This balance creates relationships based on mutual respect. Finally, celebrate your progress. Every time you say no when needed, every time you set a boundary, you are building your respect. Recognize these moments as victories. Machiavelli's lesson is that respect is a skill that grows with practice. In conclusion, stopping being too nice to gain respect is about knowing your value and acting accordingly. It means setting boundaries, communicating clearly, managing fear, and being consistent. Machiavelli's wisdom shows us that respect is not about popularity, but about strength balanced with kindness. Thank you for joining me in this series. Remember, respect is something you create through your actions and mindset. Practice these ideas daily and you will see your relationships transform. Respect yourself and others will follow.